Welcome to the Makeaway Podcast, where we believe there is God-given greatness in each and every one of us. We're on a mission to help you identify, harness, and amplify that greatness in you, starting by living out ours. Gobble, 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 everybody. It's Thanksgiving week. It's Tuesday if you're listening this on day one. Welcome to the Makeaway Podcast gratitude episode. How pumped are we?
We're pretty pumped. Talking all things gratitude and thankfulness.
Listen, the thing that I learned in business is you gotta do what I call embrace the cheese, which means do the cliche cheesy things, which is why we're here talking about gratitude on the week of Thanksgiving, because it's what I call low-hanging fruit. It makes sense. It's relevant in your guys' lives. It's relevant in our lives. So your business tip from the day is embrace the cheese, y'all. And today we're going to cover, we're not really sure, honestly. We are going to talk about the practice of gratitude, maybe some examples of how it affects our lives, our businesses, and then I do think it would be fun to just share like 3 random things we're grateful for right now.
I think that's a great idea.
Should we start with that?
Sure, you first.
Oh, no, I was going to make you go first. I don't believe in irony, but I feel like it's ironic we're recording this now because this is the 3rd time Alyssa's heard this today, but this week it snowed 6 inches. The weather, as Spokane always does, dropped 40 degrees in 1 week. It's 20 degrees right now. We can't use our water because there was an E. coli outbreak in our water system. So we're like without fresh water. We can't cook or do dishes or shower or brush our teeth. So we've been showering at random places. I've had one of those weeks where it would be very, very easy to be upset, to be frustrated, to be negative, but I'm not. And I really think that I can attribute that to being really grateful and being a master at practicing gratitude. And really what that is for us right now, and especially you guys have heard in previous episodes, sorry, I was supposed to name 3 things, and apparently now I'm going on a rant. So that's just, are we cool going there?
At the end.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Mike and I have been talking so much about perspective, and so much of gratitude is perspective and it's mindset, because we have just been in this situation of transition from our rental property to our flip house to this new house. Is now that we're at the end of it, like the end is near, there's hope on the horizon. We're like, you know what? We're actually really grateful for this season. Like, it sucked. It was really hard. Like, we did not enjoy living in a half renovated house. Like, we're used to our big, beautiful house with our big yard and our gorgeous master bathroom and kitchen. And what we've been talking about so much lately is like, man, we really, really appreciate the little things that we didn't think about before. And as you earn success and as you get to places in your life where you level up, like, I have a really nice car right now. It's got heated seats. I don't want to go back to the days when I didn't have heated seats, but those are things that we overlook. Like, you get in your car and it's warm and your butt's hot. Like, remember the days when you didn't have that? So we've really been practicing being grateful for the little things, and it makes, going into this, like, I've had to stop myself a couple times because we're getting this new house. And if you haven't listened to the episode, that was our life update a few episodes back, go back and listen. It's really short, but Alyssa and I have both had some changes happen. And when those first started, I was feeling really sorry for myself, and I was frustrated and I was angry, which is just really gross and ignorant because we get to move into a brand new, gorgeous home. There is literally nothing about that situation that I should not be grateful for. And so it's been really beautiful to just take a step back and go, boy, we are grateful for a shower that we can stand up in. Like, little things. When's the last time you had to be grateful? Unless you're like 6'6". I said this to a friend of ours he's like 6'6", and he's like, I used to have to shower on my knees because I was so tall. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Know thy audience. But that's just been really present in our lives, and I think it's created a lot of momentum, and that's a really important part of gratitude because when if you spend any time in personal development, people are going to talk about a gratitude practice every day. And even that can become something that we take for granted, but it really works and it really makes an effect in your life. And this week that could have sucked didn't. I am happy. I am loving. We just had a great interview. Like, I'm so energized right now. Like, I'm so grateful that I get to be here. I get to call this work. And 2 more sleeps. I get to sleep in my brand new house. So, number 1 on my gratitude list, 5 minutes later, is I'm so grateful for our new home and for the relationships that we have that have allowed us to take that step and to be able to do that. So that's 1. Number 2, you guys, if you're not watching on video, I know I have a problem. We can dive into all the financial issues. I'm obsessed with Starbucks Christmas cups, okay? There is something about a peppermint mocha that lights my heart on fire. I can like feel it. I feel it in my, there's snow outside. I got my first Christmas cup with a half sweet peppermint mocha with whole milk because it's the most protein and not as much sugar. Okay, this is how I justify it to myself. And it made me feel so dang good that I don't even care that it's poison in a cup and that it's bad for my finances, because it gave me the energy to function well this week when things aren't going well. So I am thankful for holiday cups, I guess we'll call it that, and a good peppermint mocha, and the way that it can make me feel, something so simple. And third, okay, it's not official, so I hope I'm not jinxing myself. Here I am. Well, were you talking about that last episode where it's like Alyssa makes all these plans and she buttons them up and then tells people, and I'm like, this hasn't happened, but here's what I'm doing. Your girl, putting it into existence, landed her first client for my marketing firm. Woo! 2 weeks in, you guys. So crazy. Terrifying, but super exciting. So I can't wait to tell you guys all about that, but what I'm really grateful for is just how I felt in the moment being in that space and like pitching to the client. I was just like, this is my jam. I am so happy. I love this. This is definitely the universe telling me I'm doing the right thing. And just having that added to what I already consider a pretty amazing life, I'm really grateful for. Your turn.
I love it. So I want to kind of touch too on what you said. You said that, so you said 2 things I want to touch on. So the gratitude practice and that it is a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important for the listeners to understand how much of a mindset it really is, because people are like, oh, well, are you thankful? Well, yeah, I'm thankful. But it is such a mindset of recognizing the little things like you just said, or the big things, and really having that mindset of, or the feeling of like, I am so thankful for that, and I am so grateful that this is happening. There have been times where like if we get in funks, we kind of like call each other out, Joseph and I, and go, okay, like what are you grateful for? Like you just kind of complained for 5 minutes about everything, and people would give their right arm for the life we have. And so then it's big world problems, like, oh, whatever. But it is, you kind of have to like take that step back, and what are you grateful for? Even if it's the silly things like a holiday cup, which shame on me, I haven't gotten my holiday cup yet.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I've been thinking about it, so maybe that's my cue to go. But it is such a mindset thing of, you have to recognize the little things for what they are. Like I've seen posts online like, you're irritated because you have to do the dishes, but you should be thankful that you just had a wonderful meal and that your belly is full. Or you have
convicted and
you have
by that
laundry, right? You have laundry to fold, And that means that you have like water and power to do and have clean clothes that smell
Mm-hmm.
good. So it is such a mindset of realizing how blessed that you are in your world. And not everyone is like that. And so I think it is
Mm-hmm.
such a mindset of just the little things and not taking those for granted. And then the gratitude practice, and even, you know, having that eventually, it becomes habit and just like taking that for granted. But I think it is so important in like whether you write them down or you wake up in the morning and just say, I'm grateful for this, this, and this, for however small they are. It gets you into the mindset and the practice of really realizing what you have around you,
Mm-hmm.
and realizing, like you said, you had a crazy week, but here you are, you're energized, you're happy, and because you have practiced gratitude, you realize all the good things that are really happening in that chaos. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that is a big thing that doesn't come overnight. I mean, when I first, learned about practicing gratitude, I was like, you want me to do what?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you
Nothing.
talking? This is silly. This is, and then after you practice it, you're like, okay, this isn't silly. And I think it helps change your mindset about your life and what's happening around you, because you do start to see the little things around you that are happening for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you just don't take those for granted anymore.
Yeah. I think there's so much
Um,
noise in our lives that
mhm.
we just get distracted. I posted this on my Instagram story today, but I had like this moment where it was kind of like one of those out of body, like from a movie scenes where the Starbucks line was crazy. Okay, not sponsored by Starbucks, but someday. Uh, and so I was like, I'm just gonna pull up and I'm gonna go inside. And I got it. I was there at 7:15, Alyssa, and I look like this. How proud of me are you?
I am so proud of
You
you.
guys, I don't morning very well, but it was like 7:30, and I was in there, and I'm just standing there waiting for my coffee, and like there's all this buzz and this energy, and there's this mom with her kiddo, and they're getting started for their day, and I was just like looking around, and like I'm so happy right now. Like this just makes me feel really alive, and it's those little culminations of moments in life that
Hmm.
we get so distracted by the busyness and the striving and just all the stuff that we lose track of those little moments, and that's when we're not living our lives. Like
Hmm.
that is life. It seems so
Right.
silly to say out loud, but like that little moment is a moment in my life that I'll probably
Hmm.
forget in a week, and maybe not because it was really big, but um it's great to be thankful and have gratitude for the big things, but the thing that I'm learning is when we have gratitude for the small stuff, it brings back the the levity in life. I know that's a little bit of a
Hmm.
redundant sentence, but um, especially if you're someone who has experienced, anxiety or depression or just struggled with your mental health, like we get in these
Hmm.
big down funks, and if I'm being really open, I'm coming out of one. Um, thank you, Jesus. But it's because like you said, I made the choice. It's not
Hmm.
something that comes automatic. So if you're someone you're like, I'm just not grateful. I'm just like, I'm not that person. Yeah, you are. You just have to make the choice and take the action to be. We literally like my gratitude practice is before I do my 10-10-1, my affirmations. I write down 5 things I'm grateful for. And it's not, I'm thankful I landed that client. It's intentionally little things. I'm thankful that this cup of coffee tastes really good. I'm thankful that the light is coming in through my windows, and it's just so beautiful. Those little culminations of life that just are really important.
Right. For sure. So I would say, oh, what am I grateful for? A big one, I would say I'm grateful for our summer of chaos
Yes.
of doing a flip house. And that one is a little hard to say
So
because
proud
it
of
was
you.
it was hard. It was hard. But we learned a lot and it was good. And we figured a lot out. And it was good quality time
Mm-hmm.
in Spokane. So that would be one thing. Another thing I am grateful for, I am grateful that we don't have snow on the ground.
I'm actually
I
loving
am a
it. So
warm. I love to be warm, and right now it is raining, and it is cold in quotes, air quotes for here. But I'm just grateful that we left when we did. Um,
perfect timing.
and I am grateful for my family and my home that we are in, even though we are still unpacking and it's chaos in that. But I am grateful for that. So
Beautiful. And I
yes,
know that that gratitude for this summer was hard earned, and that was something that was definitely a
hmm
choice. And sometimes it's hard to
yeah.
be grateful for things when we're in the middle of them, right?
Yeah, that's another thing that I did want to. Yeah, it's hard to see it in it.
Hmm.
If that, yeah, it's hard to see it in it. It's easier to see it after because,
Yeah.
like you guys had said, like you're grateful for the position and where you are now. It is so hard to see it,
Hmm.
but you have to, even if you do find those small things. And I have noticed for me is it's easier to find the smaller things of gratitude when you're in it,
Yeah.
and you have to acknowledge those so that when you're out of it, you can really go, wow,
Yep.
okay, here's back to reality. No, that was all gratitude and good. But in it, you're like, okay, I'm grateful that, we're
Totally.
here.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really big one. Something you are really good at and that you've really helped me with is almost the other side of this, where it's like, okay, we want to be grateful, but we also don't want to downplay the difficulties. And I think that's a really
Yes.
important part of gratitude. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you realize this, but you say this to me all the time is we compare our difficulties, like we compare our challenges. Well, oh, well, I can't stand up in my shower, but I have a roof over my head and I can afford this investment property. And you're really good about calling me out. Like, it's okay. Like, don't downplay your pain. Don't downplay your
Right.
struggles. They are just as relevant in your life. And yes, it's a hard line between perspective and
Mm-hmm.
like allowing yourself to feel that, because yes, then there's the other token, like, well, you have a roof over your head, dummy, be grateful. Like, I think it's
You're
good.
not sleeping in dirt.
Right, it's good to
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge the challenge, acknowledge your experience. I almost feel weird saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, acknowledge your human emotional experience. What's the
Mm-hmm.
difference is where you go from there.
Right.
So, do you wallow in it? Do you stay in it? Or do you choose to then see the other side of it? Um,
Right.
and the acknowledgement is really important, because if we don't acknowledge it, then we're just lying to ourselves. And then
Well, exactly. You're lying. You're I don't want to say you're, oh gosh, I just lost the word.
imposter. Like,
You're
we're
lying
becoming an
to
imposter.
yourself. No, you're lying to yourself, and you're just kind of like overly being almost overly positive,
Yeah.
which, and I think there's a point where, like you're saying, you acknowledge it, you don't want to wallow in it. Like, do
Hmm.
you need a day? Take that day.
Hmm.
But then, like, where are you gonna go from there, and what are you gonna see on the other side? And so it's a really thin line, though.
Hmm.
Let me tell you.
It really is. And again, setting expectations, we're never going to be perfect at it. All that matters is that we try. And
Mm-hmm.
another element is, I first thought of it when I was like, there's hope on the horizon. Is having hope. It's having foresight for if you're in a situation where you're not grateful, like thinking forward. Okay, why am I here? Like, let's have some understanding for the situation. Is it something I can repair, or is it something I just have to go through? Like, understanding why you are where you are, and then
Mm-hmm.
having faith. Really, a huge part of gratitude is
Right.
having faith for the future. Like,
Mm-hmm.
in the big things or the little things. Like, for us,
Right.
it's like, okay, we know we are going through this for a reason. For you guys in your flip house, this freaking sucks, but what's on the other side
Mm-hmm.
is worth it. We know it's coming. It's
Mm-hmm.
not here yet, but we're going to hold on to the hope and the faith and understanding that what we're doing is going to get us to a brighter place, right?
Right.
So a huge element of gratitude is faith. And then maybe let's go way deeper. Okay, so you're not in a situation where it makes sense. Maybe you've lost someone in your life, or you're struggling financially, or someone in your life is sick. Like, there's a really shitty thing you're going through, that has no reason.
Mm-hmm.
That is a tough situation. I have been there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so how do we have gratitude when there is inexplicable difficulty in our lives?
So I think, ooh, this is gonna get deep.
Yeah.
I think it's, I, so thinking of different positions and seasons of life that we've been in, I think there are times where you're not going to be grateful and you're not going to be in thankfulness. You're not, like you said, this situation and you're like, why is this happening? And there's anger and there's sadness. And it kind of goes back to, you have to have some, whether it's family or friends or chosen family, like your circle matters,
Mm-hmm.
because there might be someone in your circle that has to be that thankful and gratitude for you. That person that has to kind of think that positive and go, okay, we're having faith in this situation. This is going to pass. This is, you kind of almost have to like throw the baton to someone else
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of like have that circle and that belief in that circle, even if it's not you, because when you're in it, it is so hard. And so yeah, that's a hard one. I would say
Mm-hmm.
your circle matters in those moments,
Yeah.
because there's someone else that might have to be that person of gratitude and thankfulness, and I don't want to say cheeriness,
Mm-hmm.
because you still have to acknowledge what the situation is, but you have to have that person that's going to maybe push and pull on that faith muscle more
Yeah.
than you are able to.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Something that as you were talking, I was thinking about is we in those situations, I think so many of us get lost in trying to understand why, and I'm so guilty of
Mm-hmm.
this. And I've been going through some coaching lately where I've really realized this. Like, I will go into this spiral where I'll try so hard to understand why that I'll be stuck there. I'll lose sight of even trying to find the hope and the faith of a brighter side.
Mm-hmm.
So there are just some things, there are many things that we will never understand. And maybe this is more of an encouragement than an education. Like, don't get stuck there. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking really specifically, like maybe someone's listening. I don't know. I've just got this intuition right now. Like you have a loss. Someone died, or someone is sick, and it makes absolutely no sense. It doesn't have to. And I hope that that frees
Mm-hmm.
you. And I know that maybe that seems like an ignorant saying, but I have lost people in my life. I've been through death. I've been through sickness. I've tried to make sense of it and it just doesn't. And the only thing that spiral gets you is just deeper and deeper into your sorrow. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
so if you're there, my encouragement is, unless there really is a valid reason why, stop looking for it. What we can
Yeah.
do is we can celebrate the times that we had that person. If you lost someone, celebrate the good days and be thankful you're still here. And I know that sounds like really fluffy, like really impossible things, but we don't have very much time, which, if you're
Right.
going through this, we don't have very much time. And I would hate to see someone waste it being stuck in that place. And, grief is a whole nother, that's a big topic. And maybe someday we can get into that. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I had to share that. Um, there's not always a reason why, but I do believe I have seen it, and I hold hope that there's always a brighter side of every piece of pain. There are
Mm-hmm.
inexplicable things that I have gone through that could have destroyed my life, that I could still have holding me down. And like Alyssa said in the beginning, I've just made that choice to move past it and to grow, not in spite of it,
Mm-hmm.
but because of it. Like,
Right.
don't get stuck in something being a part of your story, but let it, um, let it propel you. Own it, love it.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. It hurts. But that hurt doesn't have to be the only part of your story.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that got.
Well, and I think there's a point too where, after you're getting through some of it, with whatever situation it is, it's how can I take what has just happened or what I'm going through and bring value to other people.
Yes. So good.
Like I always try and think of it too, and whatever situation, it's hard, you're going through it, but then there's a point where you just kind of have to ask yourself, I'm probably going through this so that I can help someone else.
Yeah.
And so then that kind of helps bring a little bit of a positive and okay, I can get through this. And it kind of helps like bring back in the faith and like, okay, like we're going to get through this. And you kind of just start to look at things in a little different way of, okay, this is a really hard situation, whatever it is, the flip house, a loss, whatever it is. There's a point where you can just go, okay, I'm going to help someone someday that maybe isn't strong enough to get through this.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always opportunity to find purpose from our pain. And that sounds really tweetable. Like, I'm like, some
Hashtag.
preacher said that sometime and it really stuck in my head. But there's always an opportunity to find purpose in our pain. And that's the beauty of it, really. Like, is because we've gone through these situations, like, yeah, we get to encourage someone. We get to be that, like you were saying, Alyssa, like we get to be the gratitude and the strength for someone maybe when they can't find it for themselves. Like what a gift that is. That is making a way. I look
Right.
back on the situations and I'm like, I couldn't be it for myself, but someone met me where I was at. Like, when we had our miscarriage, there were so many people who reached out and were like, I've been where you have been. There's no explanation. It sucks. What can I do for you? Like, I couldn't carry myself. It didn't make any sense. But having those people and having their pain made a way for mine to make sense a little bit more. And they could carry that for me. And that's really special to be able to, again, I think I've said it about 20 times. Let's make this a drinking game if you're at Thanksgiving with your family. But take a shot every time I say choose, but making the choice to allow their pain to be used. Like, that's a vulnerable space to be in, no matter what it is saying, hey, I've been through it. You've been through. Maybe, like, the economy's changing. Maybe your business needs to shut down. Like, maybe it's going to be forced to, or maybe you need to shut it down. Like, that's an impossible place. We've been there. We shut down our painting business. We've had a couple smaller businesses that we decided to shut down because they didn't make sense. But like, that's a difficult place to be in. But there is someone who has been where you are. Go find them.
Well, and then I think too, when you said, there could be purpose in pain. I think when you're kind of getting to the point of that mindset of what could this purpose be, you're moving in that, you're moving into the actions of gratitude.
Yes, good.
Because you're like, okay, so what is this? I'm going to help someone. I'm thankful that I'm going through this so that I can help someone and get them maybe on the right track. Or so through that purpose and finding purpose, and there's not always a reason that stuff happens, but when you're starting to kind of make that mindset shift, you're moving in that gratitude.
Yeah, very much. That's really good. Let's to change the pace a little bit. For those of you who, I was just thinking, again, we spend so much time in the personal development space, like we're constantly surrounded by this. If you started this episode and you're still here and you were like, oh God, we're talking about gratitude, seriously, if you had that internal reaction, I want you to check yourself, because this is something that it is so big and you hear it from a million people, and there's a million gratitude journals that people are making a bunch of money off of because cliches are a thing, because they work or because they are real. Like, maybe you fell out of your gratitude practice. It doesn't have to be some huge all-consuming thing. Maybe all you do, I think I learned this from Kathy Lee Gifford. I used to be obsessed with the Today Show. Now I don't watch the news. But she had this little practice where, like, she'd wake up, like, even before she'd open her eyes, she's a believer, she'd say, hey, Jesus, like, thank you for this day. And then when her feet would hit the ground, like, left foot, right foot, this is for all you spazzes out there like me, she just said, thank you. Like every step I took until I got to the kitchen was thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like something as little as that. Like just being like, I woke up today. I'm breathing. Okay, great. And then maybe that propels you to start a gratitude journal and you're doing it every day. Or maybe it's, if you're a runner, like integrate this into your running routine. That was weird. Running, I don't know, when you run. Like, thank you for that tree. Like, there are so many ways to practice it, and I think it's important to find what works for you and what really amplifies where you're at and what gets you excited. It's different than what Alyssa and we both have different practices, I'm sure, but it's effective, and it's something that you absolutely can and should do frequently.
Well, and I kind of want to hit on that too, because you said if you're kind of like, oh, here they go, talking about gratitude again, I would say that is when you need to practice gratitude the most.
Yes.
And I would challenge our listeners, if you're listening and you had that mindset, or if you didn't have the mindset and you just want to take on the challenge, I would challenge you for the next 30 days, so basically until right after Christmas, to write 3 things or just say them out loud, 3 things. Because if you had that mindset of, oh great, here we go, you need the gratitude in your life most.
Very good. Yeah, I agree.
And that's coming from a place where I've been there. I'm like, oh great, here we go, gratitude. And I'm like, oh, you got to check yourself. You got to check yourself.
Definitely listen.
So.
Our minds tell us things subconsciously. That's really right. So one of the things that I like to do, and whether it's for gratitude or like a new thing, is I'll make like a little graphic on my phone so that it's a constant reminder. So maybe you do something like that. Like I've got one on my phone right now. So okay, every time I pick up my phone and see a notification or check the time, maybe I'm not like reading through it and having a moment, but I'm seeing that and I'm reminding myself of these things that I want to be present in my life. And another element of this that I was just thinking about is there is a bit of manifestation. Well, there's a huge part of manifestation in gratitude. Like, we don't just have to be grateful for things that have happened. We can be grateful for things that maybe we want to happen. I think it's a really good, I don't know whether you want to say it's more gratitude or more manifestation. They work hand in hand, but I do that a lot because I believe in speaking things into faith as a believer. I believe in the prophetic element of the Spirit. Like, even today, I made a phone call with a coworker, and I was like, we might get an offer on the house. And he's like, yeah, right, I'll see it when it happens. And I was like, no, that we don't talk that way. Like, we are intentional with our words, like, when we get this offer. And maybe you're like, oh my gosh, gross, Taylor, that's so weird. Y'all try it.
It's not weird, and that's a whole other episode of the power of your tongue. Yes. Your tongue is a rudder.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's another topic we'll put into our calendar for 2023. But it's so powerful.
What we say internally and externally matters, because what your thoughts informs your actions, and our words are just thoughts, whether we're saying them out loud or not. So maybe this is where you're at in your relationship and your journey with gratitude, is you need to be speaking some things into existence. Like, marriages are coming. Gosh, I guess I'm just really like intuitive today. Like, in your marriage, maybe, or whatever relationship you're in, maybe it's not great right now. And maybe you need to be saying, I am thankful for my partner. Like, I am thankful that they love me. I am thankful that X, Y, Z. And being grateful for something you maybe don't feel, doing this practice and saying it out loud, and there's so much power in that. So if you're struggling in an area in your life, why don't you try that? Try sprinkling on a little bit of manifestation, because we can trick our brains. This is kind of like that tactic I shared where it's like, okay, I'm jealous of someone, but I'm gonna support them. Is say it when it's not true, because we will trick our minds into believing it's true. But I also think that what you're really doing is just like shaking out whatever has clouded that, because at some point you loved that person. You loved and appreciated them with everything. And maybe that got covered by situations or words that were said or things that happened. But when you're saying things like, I love that person, they bring me joy, they are my partner, it's shaking off all the nasty, and it's really just giving us this new perspective, because you guys, here it is, take a shot again. It's a choice. Like, we can choose what we see. Do we see the negative? Do we let that have the focal point? If you're watching my camera, I'm literally putting my hand up there. Like, this is the negative. Like, shake it out of the way. Make room and let the goodness and the light come to life. Because if you don't, there's a lot of things we'll just be stuck behind.
So
Yeah.
good.
Well, it's Thanksgiving, and we love to spend our
What's your favorite
time with our family. What are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? It's Joe's birthday.
I
Happy
know.
birthday, Joseph.
It is Joe's birthday. Well, I was just going to say, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish? Because we were actually talking about the menu this morning before we started recording, because it's just going to be us this year, like just the three of
We've
us.
done that.
And this will be the second, well, I shouldn't say second. Well, yeah, so this will be the second Thanksgiving that I haven't spent with family. I mean, obviously, Joseph and Bennett are my
Yeah.
family unit, but like
Extended
going
family.
somewhere else or having someone else come over. So it's a little different. It is his birthday and he loves Thanksgiving, so we're still having the
Good.
full meal. But what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
I love this question. Okay, so two parts. So there's a dish that I make and bring every year, and it's a sweet potato casserole. Both of these are potato based, so you see where my love lies.
Carbs. Starch.
It's sweet potatoes or yams, whatever you like to call them. They're the same thing, I'm pretty sure. Sweet potatoes and cream cheese, obviously. The nectar of the Lord. With like a crumble on top. So apples, cranberries, cinnamon, flour, butter, and honey bunches of oats, or XYZ crunchy cereal. You blend it all and you bake it, and it's, oh my God, it's so good. It's like the one thing that I can make from memory. That's not true. I actually wing a lot of things. I never follow recipes. It's the only thing my family asks me to bring. So, so that's what I make and bring, and then also potato based. Usually my brother or sister make this as like it's a family staple. We call it Mrs. Beasley's potatoes. I don't really necessarily. I know who Mrs. Beasley is. It's just, more potatoes and cereal and creamy dairy products. So good. And you, of course, put ketchup on them. And that is always my favorite. Leftovers are so good. Yeah, what about you?
So good. I definitely on the potato train right there. But I just love like mashed potatoes. Just like the classic. So yeah, I mean, our menu is going to be a little bit more simpler this year just because there's only three of us, and let's be honest, Bennett does not.
Not going to contribute a lot, is he?
He'll probably be like corn. Maybe if I can get him to try some potatoes, like, yeah. So smaller this year. We're still making 2 turkeys.
Oh, I love it because leftovers for days.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got the smallest ones we could find. But, once you deep fry a turkey, I don't know if you've ever had deep fried turkey, but once you have deep fried turkey, you can never go back.
It's good. My brother-in-law always makes a deep fried turkey, and then my parents bake a turkey.
Yeah, because you have to have gravy. So, and you can't have gravy from a deep fried turkey, and so that's like basically the sole reason that we're making the turkey in the oven. So
important question, the most like housewife thing I've ever asked. Do you guys make giblet gravy? / do you know what that is? Okay.
No, we do not. We do not use the giblets at all.
If you do, my family is from the South, so this is a recipe passed on down by like my grandma. And I just last year finally learned how to make giblet gravy. And it was so fun. It was just one of those it was a special bonding moment between me and my mom. And I was like, I am a housewife. I am ready to get things done in the kitchen. But the giblets, it's literally like when you buy a turkey or sometimes even a chicken, there's a bag on the inside and it's the guts and the neck. And so you chop them up and you saute them and then you make gravy around it. And it's delicious.
Nope.
And I pour it on
No.
everything, the whole. So yummy.
No, we just take that bag and we throw it in the
Oh,
trash.
for shame. For shame.
I
Okay.
know.
How about when we come visit, we'll do a mock Thanksgiving / belated Joe's birthday, and I will make you some. And then you can tell me if you like it or not.
Okay. I think we can do that. I would be willing to try.
Okay.
I don't think I would ever
That's
make.
fine.
I don't
That's
know.
fine.
We'll see. Well, if you wow me
Okay.
enough, maybe.
If I can even make it,
We'll.
I'll make it again this year and make sure. So, super
Okay.
fun. Well, we are
Yeah.
on the topic of gratitude. Very grateful for all of you guys. Anyone who is listening or watching, thanks for being with us. And if you are grateful for us too, can you do us a favor? Can you please share this podcast
Mhm.
episode or
Yes.
your favorite one?
Like
Like,
it.
subscribe, all the things you're supposed to say to build your audience. But we're loving what we're doing. We are bringing on some incredible guests that are going to teach you guys some amazing things, and we want more people to know about it, and we want this space to grow and to be able to bring that value to as many people as possible. And we can't do it without you.
Nope, we cannot. We are
We
grateful
are
for
grateful for you. Any final words before we send people on their merry way into their food comas?
you. Nope. Just have a great day and be ready for all of the holiday extravaganza
Oh boy, do
stuff
we have some
that's
fun
coming
plans
your
for you
way.
guys.
Oh
Christmas,
yeah.
we do Christmas, and we do it big.
We do
So,
Christmas too. I've already started
yes, same.
decorating.
Put on your holiday hats, get out the
Mhm.
Christmas tree scented candles, turn up the Frank Sinatra holiday music, and get ready
Mhm.
to be festive. Happy
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, everybody. And also, very importantly, it's Apple Cup Friday. Go Cougs. We'll see you next time on the Make Away Podcast. I'm Taylor.
I'm
And
Melissa.
goodbye.